Hi guys, welcome back to Shenanigans and More. This is Alex, your psycho host, Psycho Alex, and this is Shenanigans. Wow. So I've been feeling super sad and super depressed, like not and like really depressed, but like just sad and frustrated that I want to talk about this episode. I've been working on it for a little bit, a little while now, and I just really want to be able to. Something wrong with my eye? I don't know. It just feels like something's wrong with my eye. Anyway, I've been easily distracted. I was suggested a topic by a beautiful listener, viewer, everything. She's just beautiful. Hey, honey, you know who you are. I was suggested this particular what's it called topic, and I just didn't want to fail you guys. Okay, I just wanted to I feel like even if I would have gone to school, like I love psychology and wanted to do the whole psychology shebang, I feel like it would still be a really broad subject and very difficult to just grasp in an episode, small enough, short enough, to keep you guys entertained. But the name of this episode is about anxiety and the disorders of anxiety and other kind of things that come into play with all of that. It is a very difficult thing to talk about, even though a lot of us are going through it, and a lot of the youth, a lot of the younger people are going through it, and it's really difficult to just decide who should get treatment or what main factors actually indicate what that should be or what that looks like, because it's so broad and it's so much. And I feel like a lot of the older generation, maybe guilty myself, but a lot of the older generation is really judgmental, even though we're always talking shit about the boomers. Sometimes millennials can also be very like, oh, these little kids can't hang and can't understand, are not strong enough for emotions and stuff, and like bullying and stuff like that. But I've kind of, with a little bit of the research, I've kind of come down to the conclusion that it's the same thing that's always happened. It doesn't even come down to the individual who is suffering it. It ends up being a thing about being brought up, the education that we have when we are being brought up, the education our parents have, and the emotional process education that they have, that they can teach us, simply as simple as forms to either not get too traumatized with like some things that will cause us anxiety and trigger us, or how to deal with it once we actually have those emotional issues and those triggers and those anxieties, but enough of that. Please bear with me. There is so much information, and there's also not enough information all combined in that statement. Like, it's a thing where like there could be so much, but at the same time not all of it defines every individual case. Okay. So anxiety disorder is a mental disorder characterized by feelings of worry, anxiety, or fear that are strong enough to interfere with one's daily activities. For example, examples of it are panic attacks, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, very common, so much so that 3 million U.S. medical cases per year exist or happen. Now, I decided to put that statistic in there only and simply only so that we feel more united about it. We feel more... Okay. There was this one... I'm going to get totally out of, like, the conversation. But there was this poster when I was going to college. That... Community college, okay? But when I was going to college, that said... that had a little classroom, and in this classroom there's a bunch of students, and the teacher asks does anyone have any questions? The funniest thing is that all of the little bubbles, like comment bubbles in any like animated drawing, um well, not animated, but like you know what I'm saying, like a character, like a cartoon. It they all had the same question, and they all didn't want to ask that question because they didn't want to feel stupid. And I feel that a lot of that happens. Like, a lot of us think that we're all alone, that we're dealing with shit that no one else would understand or that no one else is dealing with. And I feel a lot of this happens in teenagers. And a lot of this happens when your world is falling apart as a teenager. Like, I clearly remember, okay, maybe not as clear because I'm old, but not that old, where I can distinctly remember of times where I really thought my life was going to fall apart and like it was just better if I died. And now when I think of the issues that I was dealing with, sure, being a teenager is hard, and I can't even begin to imagine what it's like to be in this era of time where like everything cell phones, everything bullying, cyberbullying, and like people talking about you and everybody knowing all of your business at once and deciding that it's okay to expose your life and then later regretting it and stuff like that. Like, it's even happened to me and I'm an adult, I can't even begin to imagine what that's like, but just letting you guys know that there's 3 million people in this, just in the US alone, that are medically described, what is it called, have cases of this, so, and then you also have to think about all of the ones that don't get qualified as it, that you may have the anxiety, but it hasn't reached that extreme where it'll interfere with your daily life, or some doctor doesn't think that it does, while you are living with something like this. And sometimes it can only progress into getting worse if you don't talk to someone, or if you don't get medical services for it, if you don't get medicine or something, but some of the signs are feeling nauseous, restless, and tense, having a sense of impending danger, panic, having an increased heart rate, breathing heavily, sweating, trembling, feeling weak or tired, trouble concentrating or thinking about anything other than the present worry. Not curable per se, but it can be managed from becoming a big problem and allowing you to get on with your life, for you to have a little bit more of like, if it's in being an impediment to you living a normal life, getting to work, driving yourself, or just having a normal social life with people and stuff, or going out and hanging out with friends and or family. So I did look up a little bit of one of the how can it be helpful, right? Because this is what we want to do. We want to be able to help you guys and distinguish when you might be having an anxiety, a panic attack, or when you can just prevent yourself from having one. Now, it's so much. It's so much, and it's so much to tell you guys. But one of the things that I found was it's called the 3-3-3 rule, and it's something that you can do when you begin to feel the anxious feeling creeping, by beginning to naming 3 things you see, then three sounds you hear, finally moving on to 3 parts of your body. This rule can help you get distracted at the moment you are beginning to worry. So, I should backtrack a little. What is anxiety? Right? It was a little bit difficult for me to understand and to communicate that with you guys, because I feel like in some way, I legit for a moment told this beautiful person who suggested the topic, I don't think I've ever actually had an anxiety attack or like a panic attack. Like, and then I started to think, and process a little bit more of where I had been, and like the things that have happened to me. And like, life is a bitch, you know. It's difficult, it's hard, it's so difficult to grasp sometimes. And like, now being a grown-up and not have been taught like a lot of things of like how to deal with life. Like, life isn't like the A through G requirements in high school. Let me tell you, you know, I don't think that for a lot of things that I learned in physics, I don't think that I really needed any of it. I mean, not to the extent that it would require me to have a survival kit, right? The only closest thing probably was like economics, or I don't even think I took economics, but like, I don't know. Knowing about history didn't really help me, you know, to feel more secure, to help me know that how to balance a checkbook. Who the fuck uses checkbooks anymore, right? But knowing how to save, knowing how to do life things that are so important and so difficult now, that like cause anxiety, that how to manage my spending, you know, credit cards and stuff. Like, all that stuff was never really taught to us, and all of that stuff is now piling up on our younger generation that doesn't know how to do these things, or doesn't even know how to be social, right? Like, not having social skills and not being taught, making people feeling people no, not feeling people sorry, people feeling anxious just by being in social places and doing things. And especially now after the pandemic, like our kids having to go back to school, or people having to go back to what work is, and working in environments where it requires for a lot of people to be together and to talk to each other. It's crazy. The craziest part is to think that that's not what's happening to you, you know, or not knowing what's happening to you, and this being it, and you feeling sweaty, and you feeling anxious, and you feeling not understanding why you're even feeling this way. Because sometimes I've also thought, you know, I have close people that I love very dearly that actually go through this, and their parents don't even understand it. So they just say that they just think that they're just being crazy teenagers, or just want to grab attention and stuff, and are not, like I said, being taught how to deal with it and how to cope with it. um it's so much, and it can be caused by, like, it's happened to me recently, not to like a really super extent where I would say I need medicine, but it's happened to me after my car accident, where it gives me a lot of anxiety just to drive again. And I wasn't driving in my accident. Okay. You could be distracted, you could be having anxiety about whatever things that are happening outside of your current emotion, and whatever you're doing, or it can just be triggered by actual things that you're doing at the moment and stuff. I feel like I'm gonna leave so much out, but I don't have specific or distinct like examples on my personal life besides the driving, that I can tell you what it's like for people who actually have to get medicated for this, and who actually require help so much, you know. But try to do the 333 rule, and focus on things if you kind of feel like it's creeping up. I've heard a lot of people try to do marijuana. I'm not saying that I'm campaigning for it. I'm just saying that I know that people sometimes do it to feel relaxed and stuff like that. You also have to understand that it may cause the opposite effect, and therefore you have to be cautious and be in a like safe space if you want to try that. I personally do breathing exercises. I focus on my breathing by counting by deep breaths in and out, but I don't really have these, like I said, panic attacks too often. I have helped other people. I have seen other people, especially in my work environment, where like being with too many people can cause this on others. And what it is I personally just like to do meditation and stuff like that. But like 1, 2, 3, 4 as you're releasing, and the same thing while you're trying to breathe in. It could be in your head because obviously you're breathing, but just counting down up to 4, up to 10, however you feel like, but just counting down and actually focus on the breathing helps a lot when you're trying to calm yourself down from anything, really. Like, even at a like a moment that's like too fast, too rush, too crazy, too that you need to calm yourself down and focus on what's going on, like you can even do that. um you can always find other ways and that work best for you, specifically, like I mentioned. Anything else you want to do. Another thing that you can do is like taking time off of whatever's stressing you out. I mean, it's easier said than done. If it's like your career, you can take a week off or whatever time you can, an hour a day. That's all you can. You can always it's difficult to say from family, trust me. If family is stressing you out, but these are the things that this is when you grow up. These are the things that you have to be able to identify that this is what's stressing you out, that this is what's hurting you, and then you have to set those boundaries around you. Like, this is my safe space, and you can't cross this line. I need this for me. And you have to learn to protect that. You have to learn to take care of yourself that way. Oh, my piercing got stuck. Ow. Eating balanced meals and limiting alcohol and caffeine helps, since both can aggravate anxiety triggers and panic attacks. Like I said, you want to be able to be mindful about not just your surroundings, not just the people who are causing this stress on you, but also and things, not just stress, but like activities or work and the environment that you're at, but also your food and your alcohol and like any caffeine or anything else that might be a trigger or might make you more anxious and stuff. If you don't want to completely remove it, I'm just saying, like, um, balance it out or lower however much intake you're having. Um, I love to sleep. I love sleep. I will sleep before food. I will sleep, maybe not before sex, but I will sleep. I love sleep. But one of the things that we don't understand sometimes, and we take sleep for granted, is that sleep is like when you recharge your phone. I know that some of us still use it while the phone is charging, but isn't it faster and better and easier when you just, and it doesn't get hot, when you just let your phone charge? So the same thing goes for you. You cannot sleep and take sleep for granted. Sleep minimal hours to get you through the day, and then take sleep for granted and not value the fact that it is to recharge your body. It is to soothe in everything that it went through all day. And it's not just like a resting time. It's not just like, okay, I got 3 hours of sleep, now I can go back to work, or now I can't go back to hang out with my friends. It's a thing that your body needs, and it's not just to like I said, to rest and take a break. It's not a nap time that's required. It is a recharge, and that is important. To get enough sleep, sometimes we take sleep for granted, but it's a part of a healthy life. Okay. Exercise is always helpful to reduce, but also to maintain your health. So again, working out, and then especially with people that I've met at my current job, which I love, except for the pay. But with my current job, I love that I'm able to see people who can get themselves up day in and day out and go to the gym and work out, and then there's days where they just don't want to work out, which I get it, but they get themselves in the gym because it's the therapy. Like, after me myself, I've been trying to work on it, and I've been almost, I'm not gonna say every day because holidays and before that and other work and stuff like that, but the days that I don't go now, I've gone to the rhythm that I need to go, because the days that I don't go now, like, I feel like something's missing, or I feel this like energy like needs to leave my body, or I feel some type of exhaustion or whatever, because my body is asking me to go and work out. It is always good to help, and these people that go, and that even when they're having bad days they go, Like my friend Chris, shout out to Chris. They have used it as this like catalyst to their pain or their stress or their anxiety or their everything, to like beat themselves up at the gym and help them release the stress or whatever thing is causing them anxiety or anything that's causing them this stress, you know. Like they said count to 10 and breathe. I said count to 4 and breathe. You know, do your focus on your breathing. There's so many things going on in the world that we can't control, and life itself is uncontrollable, and as well as all we can do is breathe and do our best. You know, I really wanted to say that to you, to all of us, not just to you guys, but to all of us, because it's important. You know, it's important to remember that just because you don't have control over it, whether it's something about your life, something about your health, something about a family member, unfortunately, it comes down to the individual. As much as we love them, as much as we want to help, as much as we want to fix them, as much as we want to cure them, it ends up being about the individual. So not having control over a situation, not having control over a person and how they can do better or how they can be better and you can take care of that, or simply how society works, or simply all of this stuff that like we have no control over. That's just what it is. We don't have control over it. What we do have control is what we do and the actions that we take. So if you have friends that are going through this and they open up about this, about it, don't go and say you're making a big deal or such, because when these overwhelming feelings are not something you can't just stop because someone tells you you're overreacting, that this is part of the issue. So if you want to be supportive, help them count. So if you want to be supportive, help them count on their breathing, or help them apply the 3-3-3 rule and assist them with that. Meditation helps, even if you don't meditate. Find some time to be able to get some Zen time, and that'll be all, you guys. Love you guys so much. And see you guys next time. This has been your psycho host, Psycho Alias, and this has been Shenanigans.